Everybody. We are just kind of starting and flying. Hello, everybody. Welcome to the Nosey Liberal. We are starting a little weird today because my audio was not working properly for the uh, music stream part of it. So I apologize. No intro music to start the show with today, but we are here. We are live. Things seem to be working for the most part, which is good compared to yesterday. And that's always good when things are working in your favor. And otherwise everything is the way we want it to be. We just don't have our friendly music up for breaks just yet because my cues are not up and running just yet, and I'm literally fixing that right now as we speak. The cues will be up in about 30 seconds, but it happens to the best of us. We all have our days, and I hate Windows, Windows, Windows 11. I hate it. I absolutely cannot stand it. It is an awful little bastard. Uh, but that is how it is, and it is what it is. So there's that. We got a lot to talk about today. We got gas prices. We got let me get my list here. Let me just bring up my list so I'm not flying blind. We got gas prices, we got Ron DeSantis, we have Rory Boyd coming in today. So Rory will be talking with us. That will be fun. I gotta send him the link to be able to come into the chat. We have Rick Scott. We have Trans Day of Visibility, which was yesterday, which I failed to mention because I just didn't get the chance because of everything that happened yesterday. Um, but we have lots and lots and lots of stuff to talk about. So I hope you stick with us today and enjoy the show. And we're here. We're live. And I'm happy to be here, and I hope you are too. I am without my medication today, so today shall be interesting. Um, but so if I'm fumbling a little bit, there's your answer. Um, it happens to the best of us. We all have our days where we're off a little. But otherwise, let's get to it. Let's talk about high gas prices. Um, high gas prices are not the fault of Joe Biden. I know it's a hard concept to take in for some people. Like they just immediately want to blame the president of the United States. They immediately want to go into the blame game territory and just say, well, it's the president's fault. It's Joe Biden's fault. Joe Biden did this. This is his issue. Why Tom, why are you defending Joe Biden? When Donald Trump was president, we had low gas prices. Now he's not president. We have high gas prices. Clearly, it's Joe Biden's fault. Why won't you bash Joe Biden? Because it's not his fault. Like if Joe Biden does something wrong that he has the blame to get for doing that wrong thing, I'm going to say, Joe Biden, this is your fault. You need to take responsibility for it. You have done wrong. But if Joe Biden has done nothing wrong and there's nothing to blame Joe Biden about, I am not then going to blame Joe Biden, right? There's no reason to blame Joe Biden for high gas prices. Gas prices are manipulated by the market and other outlying reasons. They're not manipulating. Joe Biden is not in the Oval Office with a finger on the price of gas, making it go up and up and up. And why would he do that? What does it serve for him to do that? What does it do? What good does it do him to do that? There's no good there for him. For Joe Biden to come around and raise the price of gas. It makes no sense. So to blame him and give him all the blame makes no sense unless you're a partisan. If you're a partisan and you want to blame Joe Biden for the sky falling, you're going to go ahead and say Joe Biden raised gas prices. Let's go, Brandon. You're going to say that. You're going to be like, you're not going to be an honest broker of the facts. You're not going to be really smart about your political theory. You're just going to say Joe Biden did it. Joe Biden. It's all Joe Biden's fault. It's all his fault. Joe Biden's a mean man. So Joe Biden did it. No, you don't. If you're honest about how you do things, if you're intellectually honest about how you do things, you know that Joe Biden cannot control the price of gas in America. Anywhere in America, you have different tax structures, you have different sets of everything for gas prices. Joe Biden has nothing to do with any of it. So you cannot then say that this is Joe Biden's fault unless you're being dishonest. If you want to be dishonest and say this is Joe Biden's fault, go ahead. Then you're untrustworthy and then you're just a loser. Because you cannot base yourself in political fact. The political fact of the matter is Joe Biden does not have much, if anything, to do with the price of gasoline in this country. There is very little that Joe Biden can do to make gas prices go up or go down. There's very little. If you want to make that argument and say Joe Biden is the cause for gasoline prices to go up, you are being disingenuous. Straight out disingenuous. And you're wrong. And you're wrong. You're just wrong. So there's that. We're live, and you could tweet me at #FILive. And Rory will be here later today. There is that. Lots of news going on. And none of it's good for Clarence Thomas, I'll tell you that much. The news cycle is not good for Clarence Thomas. But Joe Biden, gas prices. It's so boring when you think about it. But you have to defend it if you're going to be an honest broker of the political sway. So here's Joe Biden talking about the real reasons gas prices are high. He's telling the truth. Joe Biden is being presidential in this clip. Joe Biden is actually coming out and saying what the cause is and not giving you some BS, contrarian, partisan nonsense. Here's Joe Biden.
The problem we're facing with gas prices has two roots. First, the pandemic. When COVID struck, demand for oil plummeted, so production slowed down worldwide. It, because of the strength and the speed of our recovery, demand for oil shot back up much faster than the supply. That's why the cost of gas began to rise last year. The second root is Vladimir Putin. The start of this year, gas was about $3.30 a gallon. Today, it's about averaging 4.20, 4.22. It's higher in many states. Nearly $1 more in less than 3 months. And the reason for that is because of Putin's war.
So, yeah, the reason for that is because of Putin's war. There's no, that's the reason. You had a phenomenal recovery. You had a phenomenal recovery, and then you had, oh my God, a war in Ukraine. So you're going to get what equals out to high gas prices. Joe Biden is not the cause of this problem. Joe Biden did not say with a magic wand, I want the American people to suffer so they'll go out and buy electronic vehicles. I want the American people to be in a bad place. So we'll make Elon Musk rich. Joe Biden didn't do that. Joe Biden had nothing to do with it. Now, can he help the gas prices go down? A little with the strategic oil reserve. And I mean, if you're going to have a strategic oil reserve, I guess this is what you use it for. In case of emergency, break glass. So I don't necessarily have any problem with it, but why are we encouraging more big oil use? We should be discouraging it. We should be saying, this wouldn't be a problem if you had an electric vehicle. And not that, and not saying, big oil. Could you drill more? I mean, I know we're against climate change and all, but could you drill more? Like they're out there begging for big oil to drill more, like Republicans. That's anti-climate change. I would much rather him do nothing on this and just release the oil than say, see, here's critical thinking and being critical of this president. President Biden should keep his mouth shut about more drilling and more oil production. More oil production is toxic to the climate. We need less oil production. We should not be in favor. No Democrat should be in favor of more oil production. Okay, release the strategic oil preserve. That's what it's there for. Release that. But if you are going to then say, big oil, can you turn on the tap? Can you make it easier for me to get oil? You're putting a gun to the Earth's head. And you're saying, I'm okay with fossil fuels killing the Earth. Don't be a Republican. Don't help big oil make more money on the back of the Earth. So Jim says, and hello, Jim. Jim says Republicans demand simple answers. Well, the oil issue is a simple answer. Get off fossil fuels. Problem solved. Every Democrat should be saying, get off fossil fuels. Get off the tit of big oil. Stop sucking down fossil fuels like you have a cocaine addiction. Stop it. Just don't do it. Every Democratic person should be square with just say no to fossil fuels. Not, oh, we have an emergency, so we need to drill more to get us out of this crisis so we'll win an election. What is the point of winning an election if we're going to be dishonest about how to get there? Can you explain that to me? Can you explain to me the point of winning an election if we're going to be like Republicans to get to that point? Oh, but Tom, then we could do better. But Tom, then we can do better. We are live at Nosey Liberal. This is the first hour of the program, talking about Joe Biden, gas taxes, and so much more here on our live program. We're investing in your future. I think that should be our new motto. I think that should be our new motto. Investing in your future. I like that. And we're not taking a break this time, mainly because I didn't have the break cue lined up to take a break. So no break this time. An investment in the future is going towards fossil fuels. Because Joe Biden does not have the easy way to get prices of gas down. Even like the Blaze and everybody else on the right are bashing him right now because he's um um that's a good idea. Jim came up with a great idea. I was just reading Jim's idea. Sorry for the pregnant pause there. The government should buy 1 million electric cars and just put them in cities for people to use for free, like e-scooters. Do you get that? So the government should subsidize electric vehicles and just plop them in cities. Plop, 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 plop. And then people can use them. Hell, you could even make it where people have to put a little bit of a money down because it's a car. So you have to put your credit card down like you rent a car. And then you take it along your way. That's an excellent idea, Jim. Jim with the A1 idea. That's a solution. It will never happen because it is a solution. But that is a solution to the electric vehicle problem. The government could also drive tax benefits for electric batteries, like we talked about. The other solution to this problem, we have talked about this before on this show, is a tax credit. So you get an electric battery. You spend $3,000 for an electric battery in your home. All right. The car is already $50,000. You got to buy an electric battery accessory to the car that you just bought. So what do you do then? But you give the person that money back. You refund their investment in the future. You say, okay, I'm going to give you this amount of money back. And here it is. And then you have electric vehicles, and the cost is even lower for people. That is something Joe Biden can do about high gas prices. Joe Biden can lower the cost of electric vehicle battery chargers for your home and say every American gets a tax off. And he could go one further. But Tom, what about the people who don't live in homes and live in apartment complexes? Okay, I'll go one further. Charging stations in apartment complexes across America. So if you are an apartment complex and you invest in a charging station in your complex, you then get a huge tax write off for investing in a charging station for your complex, for people to be able to park and sit there and charge their vehicle and go from there. This is not rocket scientist. This is not hard to figure out. I'm not a high school graduate. I'm not as smart as, say, Tom Hartman. You can simply say, what is the problem? How do we fix it? Come up with a solution. And then, oh my God, you fix the problem. And you do it with tax incentives that Republicans, of all things, like. Oh my God, it's not that hard. It is not that hard. The hard part is getting the people motivated to actually get the people in Congress to actually go and do these things, to actually implement ways to get off big oil, get off fossil fuel. It is not hard to do, my friends. It is not hard to get off fossil fuel. It is something that takes effort. I was reading the review about something that I bought. I was reading this review on Amazon, and the guy's complaint about the product was, and I'm paraphrasing, took too much time and energy to make this product work. If it was one size fits all, I would give the product 5 stars, but instead he only gave it 3 stars. But the product worked for him. Like the product did the job that the guy wanted the product to do. But he had to put effort into dealing with the product. See, the reason I bring that up is Americans do not want to put any effort into resolving problems. That's why the Republican Party have it so easy. Republican, oh, high gas prices, Joe Biden's fault. High gas prices, Joe Biden's fault. High gas prices, Joe Biden's fault. They have a mantra, and they get away with it. Um, Jim says, yeah, dildo shopping is hard. You have to find the right fit. The dildo has to feel good. I mean, when you try on clothes, I never do this, but I'm lazy. When I try clothes, you're supposed to try them on to make sure they fit. I go to the approximate size I am right now and buy it and hope it works out. And most Americans, I believe, do that. They go to the size that they think will fit to get their instant gratification, to get what they want, to get the answer they want to that fits um their theory. And I have a light that keeps turning on and turning off, so my apologies for that. I cannot control it, but the gremlin just turned it on. So I hope the gremlin will keep the light on that is right above me. That would be nice. Um, if I tap my foot, the light sometimes turns on. It also sometimes they're not. So I got to be very careful. Um, so there's that, and Jim says it hasn't bought clothes in the store for years. I don't like going to the store. Like I'm like Mr. Instacart and everything else because I rail against the gig economy. So I figure I might as well put a little into the poor SOB who has to work in the gig economy. Um, so there's that. We're live here. Hashtag FRI Live. You can leave a comment in the comment section like Jim is doing, and I'll respond, usually. Unless you're a troll. I respond to trolls. I do. I'm that kind of lonely. I'm the special kind of lonely. So I even respond. I'm responsive to trolls. Hashtag FRI Live. So there's that that um and let's see. We will be right back after this. And I do have the break ready. Ain't that grand?
I'm Dr. Anthony Lizowitz, and this is Climate Connections. In recent years, large wildfires have raged across the West, filling the air with smoke. But dangerous smoky air can also cause problems for people who live east of the Rockies. Every year, thousands of smaller fires burn in eastern states.
Smoke from those large western wildfires can also be transported to the east as well.
That's Caitlin Odell. As a graduate student at Colorado State University, she analyzed 13 years of air quality data, satellite images of smoke plumes, and records of asthma-related hospital visits. She found that the danger is most severe for residents who live in the West. But because so many people live in eastern states, the total number of smoke-related hospital visits there was actually larger. Odell says her study is an important reminder that harmful smoke particles can pollute the air people breathe, even in regions where wildfires are not a top-of-mind concern.
Especially when smoke is transported from far away, it might not even look smoky and it might not smell like smoke. And so your eyes and your nose are not necessarily the best indicator of smoke.
So she says it's important for everyone to keep an eye on local air quality warnings and for vulnerable people to take precautions on days when smoke is in the air. Climate Connections is produced by the Yale Center for Environmental Communication. To hear more stories like this, visit climateconnections.org.
Ho, everybody. Welcome to it. We are live on FRINation.com, Roku channel for your Information Nation Network. We are live streaming everywhere, and we're here. We are here, and everything is working so far. So good. That's always a plus when everything is working. But I will say I do not like this camera angle. It's slightly intrusive. But we're dealing with it, and I'm trying to just get a little comfortable in the camera angle and how we let's just bear with. There we go. That's a little bit more comfortable for me to be able to do this and do it right. So Rick Scott, well, let's stick with gas prices before we move on in this hour. Let's make this hour be the hour of the gas price. Right? This is the hour of the gas price. We can resolve this issue. And we can deal with this issue on a smart basis. We don't have to deal with it like how the Republicans deal with it. And we have to be honest brokers, like the Blaze and the Federalist and all these places that are like, well, what do you mean you can't instantly make the prices of gas go down by opening up the strategic oil reserves? I said preserves earlier. I meant reserves. What do you mean you can't do that? You can't. They're not going to come down instantly, because that's not how the market works. You got to understand how the market works. And Joe Biden understands that, when he's asked a question like, how quickly are gas prices going to come down? Joe Biden is not going to feed you a line of bullcrap. See, you're not going to get that from this president. You are going to get straight and honest answers from this president. You never got that from the last president. You never got that from Donald Trump. Donald Trump, remember, said about the pandemic, it'll go away just like the flu and it'll be gone. 2 years later, we're still dealing with it. And Joe Biden answered a question, and I had the video, I had the receipts. He answered a question about what are you going to do, or what are gas prices going to do, rather. What are gas prices going to do to make things better for us? And he answered it very smartly. That's what you need in a president. You need a guy who is just like, I'm gonna lay it out for you. You might not like it, but this is the truth, and this is what I got. And this is Joe Biden. Joe Biden is not fancy smancy. He is, I'm gonna lay it out for you, and this is what I got.
Mr. President, how much in monetary terms do you estimate today's announcement will reduce gas prices, and when can Americans expect to see these changes?
That's a really important question, and there's no firm answer to it. But prices already came down when it was announced ahead of time that Biden was going to release so much energy from so many barrels of oil from the SPRO. They're already come down. My guess is we'll see it come down, continue to come down. But how far down, I don't think anyone can tell. And there's going to be a slight delay, because if you go out there and you're a gas station and you purchased X amount of gas at a certain price, you're not going to lower the price of the pump until you're able to get back what you invested. And that, I'm talking matter of, I think, days and weeks. But it's hard to tell. And the other thing is, but it will come down. And it could come down fairly significantly. It could come down the better part of, anything from 10 cents to 35 cents a gallon. It's unknown at this point. I'm also waiting to see whether or not our allies, exactly how many barrels they release from their supplies now. My guess is it could be as high, somewhere between 30 million to 50 million barrels. And the higher the number, the more likely the prices to come down.
So Joe Biden, like Newsbusters, MRC, like who got the clip. The Blaze retweeted the clip, and that's how I got it. Joe Biden can't lower prices fast enough. That is the narrative that they're going with. Joe Biden, it should be Joe Biden tells truth about gas prices. I mean, that's what it really should be. The narrative should be Joe Biden tells the truth about gas prices. Because literally, that's what Joe Biden did. Joe Biden told the truth. Joe Biden went out there and was like, I can't make this an instant thing. I can't give you the instant gratification you are looking for. I'm sorry. That's not how this works. This works this way. And Joe Biden explained it in a smart, intelligent way. Joe Biden made it so people will understand what the hell is going on. And he's doing it right. He's doing it right. And there's no other way to like there's no other way to like change that. Joe Biden is doing the right thing, and it is doing everything that he can for the gas prices. Now, if you hear it on the Fox News, on the Fox News, he's not. And Jim makes a great point. He says, right, he explained it like you would for 10-year-olds or Republican adults. Exactly. I mean, he's not talking down. He's not talking down to anybody, but he's explaining a situation where most Americans needed a soundbite, and this is a perfect soundbite. And he's being honest about it. He's not saying, I have a magic wand, and my magic wand tells me gas prices are going to come down so much, so quickly, and it's going to be right now because I'm the president and I demand it. He's not doing that. He's being honest with the American people about where gas prices are. The dishonesty from the right is a whole nother story. The right is being completely dishonest about it. They are saying that the Biden administration is this is Payne, Chris Payne, I think his name is. Walter, I don't know. Maybe he'll say his name or it'll be in the Chiron. He's an economist on Fox Business, and profit isn't a dirty word. Big oil can make profit. There's nothing wrong with that. Yada yada yada. Joe Biden bad and doesn't like profit. Basically, the message you're getting over at Fox News about big oil.
Create a narrative going into the midterm elections that we can put this problem on somebody else. You put up a chart at the beginning of the show. If you had a chart going back to November 4th to November 3rd, day after the election, when President Biden won, at crude oil, $25 a barrel. Since then, it's gone to $130 a barrel. It immediately reacted to what President Biden said his agenda was. His number one thing was to destroy this industry. He is not a friend to the industry, but guess what? Being an enemy to this industry is crushing the American public. We had you referenced some economic data out this morning, personal income and spending. And by the way, food inflation we haven't gotten to. So between food inflation and gasoline inflation, households are getting absolutely annihilated.
Before you go, because we're about out of time, I just want to put this Bernie Sanders tweet on profits for the big oil companies, because I know you have been talking a lot about this. He says, well, hey, look at the profits of these big companies. ConocoPhillips up 1,400%. Chevron, ExxonMobil, as the gas price increases 63% to $4.24. Your response? I'm
doing a big segment today on corporate profits because they were the best last year since 1950. Profits, corporate profits overall. I got you. Know what I say? Great, fantastic, I love it. Profits is not a four-letter word in a capitalist society. This is how that's how we generate opportunity and prosperity for all Americans. And by the way, ExxonMobil last year, their profit margins were 10%.
Charles, people are going to hear you say that and they're going to say, wait a second then. With all those profits, there's going to be room for gas prices, oil prices to come down a little bit.
I'm confused about that.
That they should somehow share their profits.
Because the year before that, when their profits went down 50%,
there you go.
Did anybody come to their rescue?
That's the point I heard you make. Yeah. So they were losing money during the pandemic.
Right. And then, by the way, I was just going to say, their profits, even with their profits last year, ExxonMobil's margins were 10%. 10 years ago, they were double that.
We got them all fired up. And
I'm all fired up.
Got to send him on his way to do his own show. All right, Charles, thank you very much.
Charles Payne. I was right about his name. Charles Payne. So Charles Payne, profit Profits is not a 4-letter word. Brr, we love profits. So why is not then? That doesn't make any sense. Why are they not then cheering Joe Biden? Despite Joe Biden's nasty regulatory habits, we are winning. Corporate profits are soaring. Democrats love corporations. That should be the chyron. Democrats love corporations. Profits are back under Biden. Should be the chyron. Excuse me. Profits are back under Biden. America is roaring again. Should be the chyron. But instead, the little people are getting crushed. The Democratic Party doesn't have any ability to help the supply chain. There's no food in the grocery stores. There's going to be another run on toilet paper. There's going to be all this travesty in the streets. The Democrats are doing this to us. Then in the same breath, well, why would it? Why? I don't understand. He actually said, I don't understand why the big oil companies shouldn't share the wealth. We have bailed out and subsidized big oil for generations. That's why Charles Payne. I called him Chris earlier. My apologies. Charles Payne does not realize how many governmental entities have subsidized the oil industry and made it so they could drill, baby, drill. Made it so things would go their way. I'm reading Jim's comments, and they are hilarious. I can't go through them all. There's so many of them. But you too can leave comments. Sometimes I'll get to them. Sometimes I won't. But oh my God, if you want to put me off track, send me a great comment like Jim did about the customer being fucked. Oh my God. Oh Lord. If you want to stop me in my tracks, yeah, that's the way to do it. Send me a comment. But Charles Payne, I'm confused. And this whole notion that Democrats don't like profits is a misnomer. Democrats, I love profits. I love it. I love money. I love to spend money. The minute I have money, I have already spent it. I love to spend money. That's why I'm poor. Because I cannot save money. I love money. What we don't love is greed. We do not love greed. Greed is the problem. Greed, excuse me, is the 4-letter word. Now I have the hiccups. My apologies. Greed is the 4-letter word here. Greed is the issue here. It has nothing to do with profits. Make as much money as you can make. Be that billionaire. Rise to those heights. Fly on your magic rocket ship to the moon, baby. Do that. But pay your fair share in tax. Pay what you should pay to the government who helped you along the way with roads and bridges and infrastructure and electricity and water. Pay your fair share. Don't make it so the little person suffers under your heel. Don't make it so everybody else has to deal with long lines and deal with high gas prices and deal with just a messed up, jacked up economy. Don't do that. Be a part of the community. If you want to wave your American flag, I have a bunch of American flags behind me, right behind me. I'm proud to be an American. I'm proud of the flag. I'm proud of capitalism. But there's a way to go about it. We'll be right back. There's a way to do it, and the wrong way is the Republican way. The wrong way is the corporate greed way. And we'll discuss more about that when we come back. Great topic, everybody. Love it. I love it.
Insight Daily Radio.
From food to fashion, science to tech talk, or for just plain fun, we've got you covered. From the art of all things, here's Lasana Jeffries.
South Africa has declared a national disaster over the drought afflicting southern and western regions, including Cape Town. Running water in the city of 4 million has been affected by a wider pattern of climate change seen around the country, including the Western Cape, where Cape Town is located, the Northern Cape and Eastern Cape provinces. Supplies have yet to recover from an El Nino-triggered drought that began 2 years ago and is now raising the risk of a shortage that could hit industrial and agricultural output. The Department of Cooperative Governance and Traditional Affairs said that after reevaluating the magnitude and severity of the drought, that it had reclassified it as a national disaster. The department said last week it was close to making such a declaration. However, Cape Town, whose picturesque oceanfront location is a major tourist draw, has pushed back to June 4th from May 11th, its designated day zero, when residents will have to start queuing for water, with city officials citing a decline in water usage. Deputy Mayor Ian Nielsen said that over the past week, water consumption in Cape Town had declined to 526 million liters per day, and that this was the first time the daily average had been kept under 550 million liters. Nielsen also pointed to city efforts to regulate the flow of water, and with cooperation, official appeals, it seems to have curbed their consumption. Cape Town hotels have asked guests not to use baths and to limit showers to 2 minutes or less, while some restaurants are switching to disposable cups and dispensing the table linen. Thanks for listening. I'm Lisana Jeffries. Insight Daily Radio.
Everybody, with lots to talk about today. We are talking about gas and the economy and how it's not Joe Biden's fault. I know, sexy, right? Sexy topic here. It's not Joe Biden's fault. Because Joe Biden does not have a magic wand to be able to affect climate and climate change. He just or gas prices or anything like that. If you're being honest, he could implement policy and that's about it. Joe Biden implements policy. That's what Joe Biden does. So if you want policy implemented, let's go to Joe Biden. If you want I don't know, talking points that are crap, let's go to our friends in the Republican Party. So yeah, Jim makes a great point. Republicans in general think they are entitled to society's benefits without contributing. Even poor Republicans don't understand this concept. Oh, Jim's on fire. Jim is on fire. That's exactly correct. The poor Republicans and rich Republicans think that they can just do whatever it is they want to do, however it is they want to do it, and get away with it. We're gonna switch gears a little bit in the final part of this hour because I got to talk about this. I have to talk about this story. The story is so flippin' infuriating. This is so flippin' infuriating. This story, and it talk about just exploitive use of the trans day visibility. Just an exploitive use of the trans day in visibility. They just do not care about you. And they want you to like be in this area of and of course the story does not come up. I put the link out and damn it, it didn't come up. Huffington Post, fuck you. The link is gone for me to read the story. But Caitlyn Jenner on Trans Day of Visibility has been picked to be a paid contributor of Fox News. Caitlyn Jenner ran as a Republican governor race, gubernatorial race. She ran as a Republican candidate in the recall of Newsom. She is not an ally to the trans community. All she is a transgender woman. She is no ally. She is the same person who says men should remain in men's sports. Period. And for her own self, she diminishes and would not allow to be in a sport. So, Jim says, I hope she'll be talking live and taking on-screen calls. Come on now, Jim. They don't do it that way over at Fox. That would be legend, but they don't do it over that way at Fox. Caitlyn Jenner is not an ally of ours. She happens to be a transgender person. Okay, just like Dave Rubin happens to be gay. She happens to be trans. Great that she's trans. I affirm her wish to be trans and to acknowledge that she is a trans woman. I will not misgender her. I will not insult her and call her Bruce. You know, Bruce is a different person than Caitlyn Jenner. Bruce is the past. Caitlyn Jenner is the future. That does not mean that Caitlyn Jenner speaks for us. See, what they're trying to do is say, look, we don't hate trans people. We have one here. Look. This is what they do with black people, like Candace Owens and Harris Faulkner. Look, we have a black person here. We don't hate black people. We like black people. We're okay with black people. See, we fixed it. It's like gas prices. It goes back to that. It really does. They have an instant fix. See, we don't have any problem with equality. There's no issue going on. You should be fine with how everything is, because here we have a black person for you as a host. Charles Payne, black man, as an economist. Look who we're taking advice from. He's in a suit and tie, and we dressed him up, and he ain't nothing but a house. You can guess. And it shouldn't be me that says it. But this is what white folk do to make themselves feel better. This is what corporations do to make themselves feel better. See, we're not anti-trans. We're not anti-trans. We like Caitlyn Jenner. We don't think Caitlyn Jenner is a pedo. We like her. We're having Caitlyn Jenner on as our paid contributor. We're paying her for her thoughts. Oy. That should be outlawed anyway. Paying somebody for Caitlyn Jenner's thoughts. Oh, gag a little. Trans Day of Visibility, no less. Is Caitlyn gonna talk about the minority trans people that are murdered on an everyday basis because they're trans? Is Caitlyn Jenner gonna bring that up? Or is Caitlyn Jenner gonna say how great the Florida Don't Say Gay bill is? Which do you think she's gonna do? You tell me, hashtag FRI Live. We'll be back after the top of the hour. You tell me, what is Caitlyn Jenner gonna do? I think Caitlyn Jenner is going to be Caitlyn Jenner and piss everybody off. That's just me, though. You tell me, hashtag FRI Live.
Insight Daily Radio.
From food to fashion, science to tech talk, or for just plain fun, we've got you covered. From the art of all things, here's Lasana Jeffries.
There are more than 80 spelling variations recorded for Shakespeare's name in the few signatures that have survived. In November of 1582, Shakespeare applied for a license to marry Anne Hathaway. She was 3 months pregnant at the time. William and Anne Shakespeare had 3 children. Susanna was christened in May of 1583, and the twins, Judith and Hamnet, in February of 1585. According to the Oxford Dictionary of Quotations, Shakespeare wrote about 1/10 of the most quotable quotations ever written or spoken in English. Although Shakespeare is usually considered an Elizabethan playwright, much of his greatest work was produced after James I took the throne. In 1603, Shakespeare's company became the official player for King James I and renamed themselves the Kingsmen. Shakespeare's works contained first ever recordings of 2,035 English words, including critical, frugal, excellent, barefaced. Countless excellent phrases now commonly used occur first in Shakespeare's works, including one fell swoop, vanish into thin air, play fast and loose, be in a pickle, foul play, tower of strength, flesh and blood, be cruel to be kind, and with bated breath. Shakespeare is buried near the altar of Holy Trinity Church, where he was baptized in Stratford-upon-Avon. The slabstone over his tomb, good friend, for Jesus' sake forbear to dig the dust enclosed here. Blessed be the man that spares these stones, and cursed be he that moves my bones. And thanks for listening. I'm Lasana Jeffries. Insight Daily Radio.
ho, everybody. We are live and we are here, and we have the great, the wonderful, the talented, the last day with us, Rory Boyd. Rory, welcome to the program.
I think you went a bit too far there. I'm like medium at best. Let's go.
Medium at best. Would you be a paid contributor if I paid you? Like Caitlyn Jenner?
Probably
Would
not.
you
I
be
don't.
like Caitlyn Jenner?
I don't change my views for money. I just stopped saying them.
You don't. Oh Lord Jesus!
I can. My silence can be bought, but nothing else.
Your silence could be bought. Well, that could be a good thing sometimes, though. Like buying somebody's silence, just chop them off at the knees and do it that way.
That's why. Yeah, that's why it can be bought, because sometimes people don't want me saying things.
Yeah, so it's a necessity sometimes. Like shoes. So I'm gonna give you a choice. Since it is your last. And how long do I have with you?
You got an hour.
Oh, that's awesome! We got the whole hour with you. So I'm gonna give you the first story free. Where do you want to go? Mitt Romney hates young people. Black Lives Matter reparations drama in California. Or Joan Collins is worried about the Me Too movement does to men. Where do you want to go first?
Oh, that's actually a really tough choice. Should we go Mitt Romney first?
Mitt Romney? All right. We're gonna go to the mittens first. You have spun the wheel and landed on Mitt Romney.
Yeah. Get your dogs indoors.
Yeah. Rough.
Nobody's safe out there.
Especially.
Can I just say that Ted Lasso thing he did last year was probably the worst thing I've ever seen.
Yeah.
Yeah. It made me viscerally sad to see it.
Yeah, well, the Mitt Romney is good at making people sad.
Yes.
I hear.
Is that why he hates young people? Is that he's ruining their TV shows?
Yeah. I just I don't understand why Mitt Romney is still even a thing, but we live in the same earth that Putin is still a thing. So
well, he keeps moving state, doesn't he? He just has to find a state that wants that weird thing.
And Utah seems to be it, though, which is equally weird. So Mitt Romney. Oh, the wheel has been spun for Mitt Romney. How many people say that in a sentence? This story is from The Guardian, and I tweeted it out, Rory. So if you want to check out the story, it is in the Twitter and the hashtag FYI Live. And for all those who want to check it out, I tweet the stories out so people can follow along and criticize me for my flagrant use of pronouns and whatnot. So this is coming from The Guardian. Romney suggests cutting retirement benefits for younger Americans. Because that's what you do when you already have your retirement set. In comments to the Senate Budget Committee on Wednesday, the Republican senator from Utah said that the spiraling cost of retirement programs had to be tackled to bring the national debt under control. Romney raised the politically controversial idea of cutting benefits, but only for younger generations before they reach retirement age. He said, for those younger people coming along, we got to be able to find a way to balance these programs, or we're going to find ourselves in a heap of trouble. How about you just pay for them? He said. He added that he was not in favor of raising taxes as a way of balancing the books, but was open to adjusting the long-term benefits, not for current retirees. So I don't want to raise your taxes, but I do want to fuck you still. All right?
I just don't they try and do this all the time? Like there was look, this thing that always manages to pay for itself in the end is looking dangerous because they have no kind of object permanence or whatever. And like, I understand there are like potentially sort of a kind of a pension crisis sort of thing in a lot of states, but
Mhm.
this is
And
not the
nationally.
yeah. Well, by states I kind of mean different. In like most sort of developed countries have this problem because effectively their older population is getting older, and they're not being replaced at the same rate. But like the problem with it is not the actual benefits given in the first place,
Mhm.
because like let's be real, people are living longer, which is true, but they are not like getting you can't your ability to work longer is, I would not say, necessarily significantly enhanced.
Well,
um
well, unless well, you said enhance, so the Bruce Willis um, thing was come to mind where you can just retire at whatever age you want. But that's only if you're Bruce Willis, right? He has the money to retire because of what's going on with his verbiage and speaking ability. He's in a lucky spot where he could just say, "Yeah, I'm done."
yeah, but I'd also look at Bruce Willis and say, if you look at how old he was, he 67?
74.
No, he's not 74, is he?
Yeah, 74.
I thought he was in his 60s.
No, 70s. If I'm
I thought
correct.
I've got him as 67 on Wikipedia.
Okay, then I'm wrong. I could have sworn I saw 74 somewhere.
I
Then
knew he was sort of roughly my parents' age.
I'm thinking of a William Shatner conversation I heard on Bill Maher. I'm sorry. My
Okay,
apologies.
yeah. So Bruce Willis is 67, and like that is in and around the age that most people retire. And like
That's golden years age. That's the okay to retire age. So
yeah,
yeah.
like the state pension age in Britain is, I think, 68 for men.
Okay.
So, and that has gone up. That used to be 65. It has historically gone up. It was
Sure.
originally 60. It was originally 60.
Yeah, you can keep working. You
But
can.
you can keep working if you want, but that's the age which you can claim a pension.
Okay.
And like using Bruce Willis as an example is kind of like showing, you get to an age where like working is no longer a sort of an option for various reasons, like your capability to do the thing that you were doing all your life. And this age is different for different people. Like pro athletes retire at 35 because their knees have disappeared. People that work on building sites, if they're working much past 50, things are getting rough. Like there are all sorts of different sort of sectors where you can't, like, not everyone has a job going on the computer every day. That's
What? Wait, no, I don't believe you.
Some people have got to do crazy things like stand and lift things.
Why would they stand? Who stands these days?
People that have to stand up for work.
That's. I think you're talking out of your ass.
No, not all the jobs are going on the computer.
I don't believe you.
I'm telling you the truth. You go out into the world and you'll see people, and they'll be working, standing up, walking around, carrying
Caitlyn
things.
Jenner doesn't work standing up.
Caitlyn Jenner's job was originally running about.
Yeah, but that's
throwing things.
That's Bruce. That's Bruce Jenner. You're mixing them up. See, Caitlyn Jenner's on her back all day.
I don't know what she's doing all day. I think if in those TV shows when you're trying to keep up with the Kardashians, they are often standing up, aren't they? To some extent.
Okay, maybe
There's
a little.
lot of heavy lifting in terms of the wine glasses and stuff.
Why do you have a valid point? Come on.
But anyway, my point was more that this is the like the ability for people, because I think a lot of people look at like life expectancy as being something going up, and therefore that means people are getting sort of, healthier might be the wrong word, but more physically capable the older they get. But really, life expectancy is more based on fewer people dying early. That actually, like, even 300 years ago, if you lived to 50, you'd live to 80. Like that was people weren't suddenly getting to 60 and going, "Oh, I'm not alive anymore." And
Yeah.
there are probably people who are like their lives are artificially extended by sort of being on a lot of medication and having a lot of 24/7 support. But generally, your ability to keep working your working life has not got longer. You're just being expected to pay for
So,
more of it.
so what you're saying then, and Mitt Romney is right. You just bunk off with your retirement. You don't deserve it.
Well, what I'm saying is that the need for retirement benefits and for in the amounts and at the point in time when you can claim them hasn't changed. Other things have changed, and the thing you should be pursuing is, why is the money less than it was before? And this is to do with
Okay. See, that makes sense, because if you raise taxes, the money would be the same.
yeah, you could just do that. Like, you know how like a lot of this stuff is paid for by a tax which is specifically capped for people that earn a lot of money. If you just
Yeah.
maybe took away that cap, because like there's no reason to say, well, this person's earning so much money they should pay less taxes now. Like, just that might that sort of paying for these social security benefits and that.
I have to ding you for making sense.
I'm sorry.
You have made sense on a topic, and I have to penalize you for it. I call a flag in the field for making sense.
Okay, I'll go back to my previous point of why don't old people just drive Uber?
Yeah, exactly. That is much better.
Because famously, it's very very safe to have all these old people driving around all the time.
Fine with grandma driving your Uber around. Totally fine. Nothing will go wrong. Speaking of nothing going wrong, let's move on to California. Who doesn't love California? This story is yeah, well, and Florida. Don't forget Florida.
I just base it on what was that drink in the 90s? Sunny D flavors.
Yeah, yes.
There was a Florida flavor and a California flavor, and I couldn't remember what the difference was.
Well, they're one is
they both tasted of orange.
One is toxic masculinity, and one is not. Let's just do it that way. So California raisins. What other things California can we name? But
that song Beverly Hills.
Yeah, yeah.
Any song by Red Hot Chili Peppers seemed to be about California. That was
fair enough. So, the story from The Guardian: California reparations decision sparks debate over who should qualify. My question to this headline is, why is there a debate? Every Black person should qualify, right?
I mean, probably. Are they going to try and get like? Because I was going to make some sort of, are they going to try and like, I don't know, like distinguish between sort of Nigerian immigrants and people that have been in America for hundreds of years, like that? You're just going down some kind of weird rabbit hole where it's like they've not been advantaged; they've just been disadvantaged somewhere else by someone else, maybe.
Yeah. So the task force established under state law to study reparations voted on Tuesday in favor of compensation and restitution plan. I'm all for that. That is based on lineage, not for that. The group for months has been tackling thorny questions about who should be eligible and had considered recommending reparations based on race, which would mean a broader group of recipients. I'm for that. Like Native Americans and like Black people. Give it to them.
Yeah. Well, do you know what I'm hearing there? Is that sounds like a lot easier. And that I would hazard a guess that like the number of sort of people of like Ethiopian origin in California would be less than the cost it would take to count them.
That was the narrow era eligibility, try that again. Eligibility has said that the reparations should be available to direct descendants of slaves, along with descendants of Black residents who were free and migrated to the country in the 19th century. Given the challenge of documenting genealogy and the risk of time becoming enslaved, they have argued that Black immigrants who migrated to the United States in the 20th and 21st centuries did not experience the same harms as people who were kidnapped and enslaved. Weak argument, considering
Yeah,
what
like
we went through.
I think it's a very complicated thing, and like because they are like well, no. What I mean is, let me explain. When I say it's complicated, in that they're different communities with different experiences, but they're not like unharmed. You know, like you could produce an argument that like Jamaican immigrants are not part of the same community as African Americans in that sense, but they have suffered the same fates.
Then let's go with your argument. I have a solution for you. No, I'm serious. I have a solution for you. Hold on.
It's the music.
It's the music. That's not the solution. The solution is what you do is you make it so everybody gets reparations. Everybody who's Black gets reparations. You're that's your pigment. That's what you get. Then you go one step further. If you have descendancy ancestry to this, you get more reparations.
I mean, that could work. The things I would just say is just to give it to everybody, because I'd like my general argument on these things is that like when you try and like this is obviously not quite means testing, but when you try and add more complicated ways of getting something, what you're doing is you're putting barriers up to people who probably legitimately do like the thing that it's supposed to. If you've got to prove genealogy, like people were not. I'd struggle enough to prove my genealogy, and like I've never at no point in my family history has like someone been bought by another person and sold on somewhere else. Like this is, it's not going to be a documented thing in a particularly sort of, you know, it's not an organized system, because this is not a thing anyone's ever had to think about before, and they certainly weren't thinking about it at the time, and therefore they didn't keep records that you could verify. Like that's
What,
it's
you mean
not.
they weren't like Nazis keeping records of everything?
No, they wouldn't. There's not going to be like some kind of notarized document. So, I like.
I'm sorry to make laugh about it, but I mean,
Yeah, well, this is the truth. It's the problem when you go down this road, and that's why like it would probably cost less money to the state to give it to loads of people that you theoretically don't want to, because
and Jim in the chat,
the admin would be huge.
Jim asks how Black one drop, and I say yes. One drop. You got a little bit of Blackness. Boom, there you go.
What do you put on the census?
Yeah, exactly.
Whatever you've put on the census, if you've put your ethnicity on the census the same every time, then that's what it is.
Yeah, I'm all for that. Jim says, look at how much confusion there is about Native American tribe membership. You simplify it. Excuse me, the Republicans like simple answers. Hiccups again, damn it. The Republicans like simple answers. You simplify it. You just say, everybody. You just get it. Elizabeth Warren, Little Miss Native American, gets it. Native American. If you can find it in your path, you get it. And this is the thing I hold about disability payments in the U.S. If you find later that the person is not deserving of such payment, you automatically revoke it. You do it after the fact. You don't say, oh, you're cut at the knees before you even start running. You say, okay, I'm going to let you run a little bit, But if you're running funny and you're not running like Bruce Jenner, as an example, then we're going to cut your knees off.
So just to give an example as well of this, in Ireland, about 15 years ago, there was a program in which, because of historical abuses in schools run by the Christian Brothers, which is I think they're Jesuits, like some kind of Catholic monkey type school, not monkeys but monks. The abuse was so extensive in I don't know what year it was, but whenever it was that my grandfather would have been going there, that the only evidence required to claim part of the damages was to prove that your family member went to that school during those years. There was you didn't have to prove any actual damage to yourself. It was just assumed that if they went there at that time, then therefore they're eligible, because that was the easiest way of doing it and giving it out most effectively. And if the more barriers set up to these things, the more you're not going to do the thing you're claiming to do.
And Jim says, I'm coming around to Tara Devlin's perspective. Targeted benefits tend to create a divisive society. I agree with that, but I might add, slavery already divided society, so let's try and make something better.
I think that there's a certain degree of targeting.
Over slavery.
I would always say with all these benefits, there's a certain degree of targeting. It's probably required, just because even if you just did like a UBI, then the people that, like, for example, disabled people, their cost of living is greater. So if you're giving everyone a UBI and it happened to cover their costs, they would still be like disadvantaged in society on the basis that their baseline cost of things is more expensive. So I think there is a kind of a need to specify, but you specify very broadly.
Exactly. That the simple way is broad and all powerful. You make it as broad as you can, so it harms the least amount of people, and you qualify everybody. Everybody in the mix is qualified, and then you go from there, and then you narrow it down from there. That is the simplest, least harmful way to do it. But I will add, there will always be that one person who is like, well, I didn't get mine's my way.
Yeah, and the thing I would also say, this is like the last thing. The last thing I would like to say on this is that if you try to sort of pick and choose who quite qualified, I would just sort of remind people that in South Africa, when they were picking who didn't qualify for things, they were very, very, very hard and fast. There was no, oh, you are only half. That's okay. Like, then any amount, we don't want you. Bye bye. So this is
Jim also adds, yes, but addressing the inequities by poverty level is a less divisive way than rephrasing the race issue. Totally agree. But
I would just say do both.
Well, I agree with you. I think you can do both. I think if like as long as there's nuance and creative thinking, two things that the Republican Party cannot fathom, to be able to be a cooperative, stabilizing factor. As long as those things exist, we will be okay, right? We can manage to go through this with reparations, where we will be all right if the more people are able to qualify, the more people are able to get what they deserve, and go from there. And I just think it should be simplified to the nth degree, in the good way. So let's see. Let's move right along. I'm gonna give you a choice in Florida stories here, Rory. Do you want to do the Rick Scott 11-point plan?
Is that how to do Medicare for all?
Yes. The 11-point plan to destroy America, or Florida voting law unconstitutional against the GOP.
Let's do the 11-point plan. That sounds more fun.
The 11 point. Okay, you are on a roll with the fun here. Because who doesn't love an 11-point plan? I'm game. Are you game? We're all
Step
fair.
1, underpants. Step 2, question marks.
Don't forget the apostrophes. Step 3. There's always that. And I'm going to skip the break. The break is like literally coming up in 47 seconds. We're going to skip the break to the top of the hour because we got to get through this. And I want to do the Joan Callan story with you instead of I'll cover the TSA story myself. We're going to do the Joan Callan story after this one. So let's get through the 11-point plan. There are 11 points, so hopefully we'll make it through the hour. We are on a limited time scale here for this. So this is from the Orlando Weekly. They have the 11-point plan. And these 11 points, I think this is a Democratic citing paper because when they talk about the 11-point plan, they say the 11 points speak for themselves. That's how they qualify this. The Orlando.
Okay, I've seen point 1 and I'm already scared.
Yes. Turn schools into patriotism factories where kids are forced to say the Pledge of Allegiance, which is unconstitutional, by the way. The paper points out. And the teachers can get fired for making white children uncomfortable. Critical theory.
So can I just say on point 1, as someone who's Irish that went to school in England,
yes,
schools are already patriotism factories. Like a lot of the educational process, like a lot of the curriculum is of teaching you stuff that is trying to make it seem like the country you're from is better, because like nothing in English history tells you anything about all the stuff that you learn in Ireland about how bad it is.
Well, to be fair, England is ahead of its game when it comes to doing things the American way.
Yeah, and there's a reason why the books you read in English are like these are the classics. They're all by old white men from exactly where you live.
Yep. The paper says the Department of Education should be closed and implement a voucher program. And this is a liberal leaning paper when they say that ghettoizes public schools and routes billions of tax dollars to unregulated religious institutions. I love the Orlando Weekly.
I mean, sure, why not? Do you not want to turn public schools into ghettos? Ghettos are good, right? That's what that word means.
Already halfway there. Why don't we go the full Monty?
I always love it when they're like, just get rid of the entire government department responsible for doing the thing that we're also saying that they'd have to. Like, whoever was to oversee this program would still be like a department of education. They would just have a different role.
Yep. Jim said steps 1 through 10, all the money is for Rick Scott. That's always a good way to do it.
Well, I assume he must have shares in a school that they could give vouchers to. That's part of it, isn't it?
Yeah, no, totally. He's invested. Step 2 in the 11-point plan, end diversity training or any woke ideological indoctrination in the military.
Okay, but
yeah,
again, like, the reason why they have diversity training in the military is not because like the liberals have taken over or whatever.
Yes, they have.
It's that if you're trying to recruit soldiers from a diverse nation, the soldiers themselves are going to be diverse, and it's probably not good to have a culture of racism and bullying in your army.
Yeah, well, that's not good, but
I feel like that's like how you get to sort of mad shooter on base situations.
Oh, oops. Just oops.
Yeah.
Oops right there.
Oh well.
So Rick Scott has more. There is more. You also cut off funding for universities that try to diversify their student bodies, because we have to proclaim that, as the article says, the nation has been colorblind for the past 400 years, and they never happened. We just Barack Obama was president, everything's fine.
I just love that I did like, look, America is colorblind. Okay, so what's this Emancipation Proclamation? Oh no, don't worry, that's not that. No, don't worry. Who are they emancipating? No, that doesn't matter. It's that was just like a clerical.
This is the only the second point in the 11-point plan.
It was a clerical error.
I think the 11-point plan is a clerical error.
Yeah, let's have a look at number 3.
All right, number 3, impose more sentences, and now the paper says draconian sentences for violent and nonviolent crime, and expand, because that's worked so well, and expand qualified immunity, because that's worked so well, so that cops can have even more ability to abuse their authority with impunity.
Yeah. Expand the crime of stealing a shopping cart to the sentence to that is now being shot.
Yeah, just bang. Whatever.
He watched the film Dread, and he thought this was a wonderful way of running a society.
You're not off by that. In New York City, they are trying to stop people from robbing CVS's, and because Dwayne Reed's, which is a drugstore in New York City, right? And they were doing this man on the street interview, and they were saying, what should we do about the crime, people stealing? And one guy literally said, tase them all. Just tase them all.
Set faces to stun.
It's just like, oh my God, no. And this is like, it was serious. Like, this was dead serious talk. I mean, this is how Rick Scott gets away with this crap. It's like you got that one person who's like, yeah, I'll be lenient. Tase them. Don't kill them. I mean, oh my God. So there's that. Where are we? Number 3, number 4, right?
Yeah, we'll secure our border, he's saying next.
Yes.
Which the border of Florida is with Alabama? Is he worried about Alabamians coming in?
Oh, we will secure our border, finish building the border wall, and name it after Donald Trump.
The border wall's not even in Florida.
I know.
Your border wall is wet. It's just the sea.
This is why, like, I talk about this all the time. This is not policy. This is poop.
Though, honestly, it would be just amazing if they built a wall in the sea around Florida. And everyone just tried to go out on boats and just bumped into it.
How would Carnival get through?
They wouldn't. That's the point.
Oh, there you go. Give the president a line item veto. Unconstitutional, the paper points out. But
So,
when you're
when it says line item veto, does that mean that if you put a law in his desk, he can just rub out the words he doesn't like?
Yeah, just kind of like eraser, magic eraser, with the veto. Prohibit debt ceiling.
Why does he? Can I just ask? Why does he want to give Joe Biden so much power? He doesn't sound like he's thought that through.
No, he hasn't. Prohibit debt ceiling increases. The paper points out calamitous. I don't have any other word for it. Tax poor and retired people. So they have skin in the game, as the paper says. Because poor and retired people aren't already taxed to that. And they have no skin in the game. This is a misnomer that they're not
taxed. They've got no skin. They've sold their skin.
Yeah. Let's see. The next one. Enact terms for members of Congress term limits for members of Congress and civil servants. It'll empower lobbyists and is unconstitutional. The papers. I love the Orlando Weekly.
I think that's bordering on sensible.
I don't believe in term limits. Like, okay, let me rephrase that. If we're gonna have term limits, I want extended time for people in Congress so they're not.
Yeah, the 2-year thing is stupid to me. The 2-year is ridiculous.
Yeah.
Give them time to set up their office.
Yeah. So if we're gonna make it do term limits, there has to be coherency to it. But I don't think we're talking about Rick Scott, so
he's probably not going to do that in a good way.
Yeah, exactly. More move government agencies out of Washington and into the real world.
So again, like, that's not entirely stupid, but there's a reason why most countries operate under a single capital. It is a lot easier. Like, there's a lot of talk like that Britain should do this. They should move certain departments to different cities to try and sort of effectively make the government a little bit more responsible to the nation in a certain way.
Yeah.
But what it tends to mean is that they move the shittest bits, the worst jobs that they don't really want to have to pay London wages for, to other places. But actually, all of the power remains in Westminster. So, like, it's not a crazy idea, but it's also there is a reason why. I think every country other than South Africa does this, where they keep everything in the same area.
Yeah. Because it makes sense.
Yeah, South Africa and their 3 capitals is too weird. That's not.
Why would you make sense? Oh, and this one, part of that point plan, cut the IRS funding in half, because that'll work out well. I just see that working out gangbusters, don't you?
Sure. Well, they just keep some of the money for themselves.
Ban same day and automatic voter registration. And I like the paper. The paper says because fraud or whatever. Love the Orlando Weekly.
Just make it harder to. Just voting is too easy. People probably enjoy it or something. I don't know. It's
unmanned collection boxes and public financing. Get rid of that. Not there, but don't have absentee ballots that arrive on election day.
I am, this is more like a 33-point plan. I think very, very few of these points have stayed on message.
Yeah, no, totally. But this is all part of one plan, though. Mandatory voter ID fraud. Voter ID. Jim says step 12: kill all non-believers.
Oh, he's getting there.
Yeah. The kill part is this next one in the point plan. I forget what number are we up to? 57?
I don't. It's 1, 2, 3. I think this is 7.
Okay. Ban abortion. Ban porn. What?
No. Pick one.
Not my pornography collection.
Pick one. Either you can have abortions because people are banging each other, or you can have porn because people have had to stop banging each other.
You can't ban both.
Yeah, if you get rid of both, what people are just going to be stuck there.
What are people in the southern states going to watch?
What's that TV show in Idiocracy? It's just Ow My Balls.
Give tax breaks to nuclear families and allow faith-based groups to discriminate against whoever they like. Sounds about right. Sounds Republican, and I love the
Orlando sort of thing. Yeah.
Ban porn though. I'm still kind of stuck on that. He wants to get rid of my porn collection.
Yeah, or drive you underground.
What has my porn collection done to Rick Scott, Rory? What has it done?
I don't know. Maybe someone accidentally just on his head over a balcony or something.
Oh, the visual. That
The
went too
next one's
far.
mad as well.
Yes. God says, and this is again the Orlando Weekly. God says, Orlando people aren't real. God says trans people aren't real. So doctors should be banned from treating trans children, and trans men should be banned from women's sports.
Well, surely, if they're not real, then it doesn't matter about these things because they're not real.
Yeah, but that's
And when does God say this? I don't think this is addressed in the Bible.
No,
Is it in the Hadith?
No government forms will include questions about gender identity or sexual preference. So that seems realistic.
Yeah, because you'll no longer have sexual preference because porn is banned. He's moving towards a sex-free society.
Oh, Jesus. Oh, my God. Oh, no wonder why the Republicans don't want to talk. This is a gift to the Democratic Party. We're on number 10.
Yeah.
Ban Facebook and Twitter from banning users for hate speech. So
he's doing the ban rather than them doing the ban, is that?
Yeah. Which is unconstitutional.
I just love how obsessed these people are with Twitter.
I love how obsessed they are with banning everything.
Why won't they let me do my posts? That's he just wants. Every time he goes on Twitter, all of his friends are banned and all the porn is still there.
Yeah. Oh my God. Rick Scott, saving America, everybody. Jim says, "See, they need to say the N word." True. Stop participating in peacekeeping missions and imports from China.
So what is that like? When he says stop participating in peacekeeping missions, what is he? Which ones does he think that is? Is he like America shouldn't have intervened in Bosnia, or should America have intervened when North Vietnam?
Anything with the non-white people. Does that help you better?
Is he anti-Korean War here?
Yeah, totally. Non-white people.
It's just like I just don't know what. And also ending imports from China.
Plan though, man.
What if he ends imports from China? What the fuck are people going to buy?
Well, I'd say Taiwan, but according to Donald Trump, they're going to invade that country anyway. So it goes back to your original question.
It's just like where are all the products going to come from?
Vietnam, I guess. 11-point plan that proves Republicans are dumb as rocks. Absolutely, Jim.
I love it when they present their serious intellectual ideas, and it's just these are just like a child came up with these, and that child was immediately beaten up,
or needs to be slapped in the face by Will Smith. I mean, Jesus.
I'm just amazed he's not put flat tax in here. My bingo card remains incomplete.
Insulted there is no flat tax.
Yeah. My bingo card is incomplete because he didn't put flat tax on there.
There's no flat tax, Rick Scott. Where's the 999? 999.
Yeah, where's the 3-page bills?
Yeah. Just oh my God. The incoherency of the Republican Party is just as incoherent as Joan Collins. So our final story that I do with Rory, because wow, this
rest in peace, me.
This story with Joan Collins just like wow.
So can I just before we start, I'm vaguely aware of like I wouldn't be able to tell you what Joan Collins looks like, and I'm aware of the fact that she is an actress. But I don't think I could tell you what she's been in or why I'm supposed to know who she is.
She was a diva in the 80s. She was the Kim Kardashian of the 80s.
I thought that was
It's
the other one.
sophisticated.
I thought that was Newton John,
No.
okay.
Okay.
Joe, I'm
Joan
going to Google Joan Collins and find out what's. I remember. Is it Joan Collins that complained about? She was pro Brexit because then you'd get the old fashioned light bulbs back or something weird like that.
it could be.
Okay, the third line of her Wikipedia page says political party conservative, so I think that says.
Yes. Joan Collins says the rise of anti-maleness is sabotaging an entire generation of young men who are suffering from being labeled toxically masculine. Sarah Taylor in the Blaze, I almost said the Glaze, wrote this. She is a knight. She's a sir, dame, a dame.
Dame, I think it would be a woman, yeah.
Yeah, she's knighted by the crown. Yikes. She's 88. She's talking to the New York Times. I thought we didn't reference the New York Times if we're right wing.
This may be different if you're British, I guess.
Like, I don't understand how these people are like going to left wing news, or it boggles my mind. Sadly, I think that now young men are suffering from being labeled toxically masculine because of the rise of the anti-maleness. She added that she does believe that women are equal to men in every single way, save for physical strength. People say you didn't burn your bra, you wear lipstick, so what? I'm very proud of being a woman, she insisted. What's wrong with actress? What's wrong with mother? What's wrong with woman? Girl. I don't like having that word taken away. So apparently she fears the word.
She doesn't want to be an actor. Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, she's 88. I feel like girl is she's a bit beyond being described as a girl. But
yeah, true. I don't want to engage in any way, shape, or form with these morons, but you are, Joan. You are right now with the New York Times. People can't say what they think because they'll get canceled. Dredging tweets from 15 years ago about what somebody might have said when they were 14. I think that's sick. So there should be no personal responsibility for what you say and do ever. These pronouns are just evil.
It's weird. Like I think most people probably agree that if you say something when you're 14 and you're now like 35, that the 14-year-old you is probably no longer responsible.
Yeah.
But that's not really what's like. People are being cancelled for the things they said like a week ago. It's not really the same thing.
Yeah, no, totally. And I need to take a sip because
anyway, I think I found one film I have seen her in.
One film,
which is the Flintstones and Viva Rock Vegas.
Yeah, she was in that. I did see that too. So marvelous actress. Don't say actor. Fucking pronouns. Man, these pronouns get in the way of everything, don't they? Worry. They just they just totally get in the way of everything.
You're putting pronouns on pronouns by saying they.
You know what? I see what you're trying to do. I will not be wrestled into your pronoun cabal.
You're going wild using correct English here.
I will not be. I will not be. I will not be erased by you, Rory.
Okay, but
I will stand. I will stand firm, Rory Boyd. God damn it!
Even though I still watch the Flintstones movie again, though, is that all right?
No, you may not. You may not watch the Flintstones. Not a good call, Rory. The Flintstones movie with Joan Collins. Not a good call.
But I've met the man that played when I was a child. I met the man that played Fred Flintstone in that. So.
Oh, what's his name?
I don't know. I called him Mr. Potato Head when I was.
I know who you're talking about.
He was in the Full Monty.
He was also in King Ralph.
Yes. Mark Addy, I think it is.
What's that?
Mark Addy?
No, no, he's in Roseanne.
Oh, you're thinking. Oh no, that's John Goodman. I don't mean him.
John Goodman.
Yeah,
right?
no, I meant the guy that played Fred Flintstone in the other film.
Oh, the shittier one.
In the one with John Collins in it, yeah.
Oh, so you met the guy who the replacement of the good
Yes.
one.
I met the replacement from John Goodman.
You met John Goodman's replacement, you poor bastard.
Yeah.
See, I thought you met John Goodman. That was
No,
gonna
I would remember. I'd remember his name and not give him some kind of derogatory toy-based name.
Oh, Jesus. Yeah, that's right, because they did replace, like, over salary issues. They did replace all those actors in the Viva Las Vegas Flintstone movie. But somehow they managed to get Joan Collins.
Because it was the only film that I'd ever seen her in, so obviously she wasn't getting that much money because I wasn't seeing her films. You know, I never watched Dynasty.
Yeah.
But yeah, I find like this sort of thing of people having to have an opinion on this weird thing now. Like, obviously, Joan Collins has offered her opinions here because this doesn't sound like the sort of stuff that the New York Times would be like. So, Joan, what do you think about? Do you think men are manly enough anymore? But like, you get it now. Every single sort of celebrity interview in like a British newspaper involves asking them what they feel about, do they hate trans people enough?
Yeah.
And you just kind of get these weird things in like where the author has tried to ask them all these things, say, aren't they terrible? Aren't they a menace to society? And the person's just gone, no, I don't really think about it very much. It's not really my problem.
Yeah.
But obviously Joan Collins has offered her views here. I don't really know. I feel like she's not necessarily kind of. Most men I know haven't changed. Like, there may be changed the things that they say out loud, but the sort of actual sort of manliness of most of the people I know has not changed very much.
I think you are putting your blinders on, Rory.
Maybe I am. Maybe I can't spot it, but I feel like it's not a sort of a life-changing issue.
We are in crisis mode here. We are going down the slippery slope. When we can't allow Bruce Jenner to shine and be Bruce Jenner, and we have to just let Caitlyn be Caitlyn.
Nobody took away her Olympic medal. Like, she's still got that. It's fine.
Yeah,
she shined.
I don't know. I don't know. I think
was it that Olympic? Was it the one where half the world couldn't go though?
Yeah, it usually is.
You know, I feel like those ones don't count. Like a white British guy won the 100 meters in 1980, but it was when like America and the West Indian countries didn't go. I just sort of thinking, yeah, you beat some Russian fellas at running. Well done. It's not the same. Where were you 4 years later when Carl Lewis was there? No. Sorry, I've decided that my last thing on this show is a rant about Alan Wells.
You know, if you're gonna go out with a bang, Rory.
You person that did running 42 years ago. Why weren't you fast enough?
Just
melt down your Olympic medal. But yeah, so I like, it's just one of those things where like I don't even know why. I assume Joan Collins has got something that she's in and she's trying to promote as well.
Mm-hmm.
And she thought that the way to promote this was to go in the New York Times and tell people how she's sick of men now, or whatever.
Well, no, she's not sick. She's worried for men. She's not sick of men.
She's sick of society.
Yeah, she's sick of society not being worried about men enough.
And I just don't know if this is going to make your average New York Times reader go to the theater or watch the.
Well,
that just doesn't seem like that.
You gotta rise for the diva, though. You gotta show up.
I'm just not sure that's the best way of selling tickets.
I don't know. I think you're wrong, Rory. I think you're miscalculating. I
If
just
she
think
went in some kind of, if she did this in the New York Post, maybe she'd get some.
I think you are going down the wrong path on your very last show. I think you have miscalculated, and it's a damn shame that you use your time that you have this valuable time to not get it right.
Sorry, I'll recalibrate my John Collins meter.
Yes, you watch too much of the Flintstones and not enough Dynasty.
But yeah, I think that's.
I
can't explain.
Your head onto your head.
She's just, she's a very weird artifact of British society as well. You know, you get these people where you're like, I don't know why I'm supposed to know this person, but also everyone just seems to know this person, and they're talking some random nonsense.
Kind of like Ron DeSantis.
Well, yeah, like, but I think I know why I know him. Because he's
really want to, but do you really want to know him? Is the question.
No, look. Does Florida need to exist? This is my last real thing. Does Florida need a governor? Could they not have
No.
Could they split it up?
Yes.
Make the Panhandle part of Greater Alabama, and then,
that would be fun for Alabama. That would totally work. And on your last show, I mean, if you're gonna go out this way, just take a shit on the floor and be done with it. I mean, for fuck's sake, just take a giant turd blossom right on the floor and be done with it. I'm gonna miss you.
Gift from Tampa down back to Cuba.
Yes. There you go.
I will miss you too.
On that note, the great, the wonderful, the talented. I think I misspoke about the talented part.
Did you take that back after my John Collins slander?
Yes. Your slander against John Collins. I'm gonna get a cease and desist order now.
Yeah.
On that note, say goodbye, Rory.
Bye-bye. Hopefully I'll see you guys again sometime in the not too distant future.
Amen to that. We'll be right back. Thanks, Rory. You have a great day. Stay safe. And we'll be right back. The Nosey Liberal careening into hour 3 of the program right after this break. And let's look this.
Insight Daily Radio.
From food to fashion, science to tech talk, or for just plain fun, we've got you covered. From the art of all things, here's Lasana Jeffries.
There are more than 80 spelling variations recorded for Shakespeare's name in the few signatures that have survived. In November of 1582, Shakespeare applied for a license to marry Anne Hathaway. She was 3 months pregnant at the time. William and Anne Shakespeare had 3 children. Susanna was christened in May of 1583, and the twins, Judith and Hamnet, in February of 1585. According to the Oxford Dictionary of Quotations, Shakespeare wrote about 1/10 of the most quotable quotations ever written or spoken in English. Although Shakespeare is usually considered an Elizabethan playwright, much of his greatest work was produced after James I took the throne. In 1603, Shakespeare's company became the official player for King James I and renamed themselves the Kingsmen. Shakespeare's works contained first ever recordings of 2,035 English words, including critical, frugal, excellent, barefaced. Countless excellent phrases now commonly used occur first in Shakespeare's works, including one fell swoop, vanish into thin air, play fast and loose, be in a pickle, foul play, tower of strength, flesh and blood, be cruel to be kind, and with bated breath. Shakespeare is buried near the altar of Holy Trinity Church, where he was baptized in Stratford-upon-Avon. The slabstone over his tomb, good friend, for Jesus' sake forbear to dig the dust enclosed here. Blessed be the man that spares these stones, and cursed be he that moves my bones. And thanks for listening. I'm Lasana Jeffries. Insight Daily Radio.
I'm Rick Smith, and this is Labor History in 2. On this day in labor history, the year was 1946. That was the day 400,000 bituminous coal miners walked off the job in 26 states. They demanded higher wages, better health benefits, and safety regulations. The strike began to cripple industrial operations nationwide. By May 22nd, President Harry S. Truman seized the mines. Miners returned to work a week later. John L. Lewis, president of the United Mine Workers, signed an agreement with Secretary of the Interior Julius Krug. It included wage increases and vacation pay, the 5-day work week, and contributions to a retirement fund. The strike led to the Promise of 1946, otherwise known as the Krug-Lewis Amendment. It created the UMWA Health and Retirement Funds. It is this fund that is often referred to in present-day discussions concerning the loss of retiree health and pension benefits. According to Robert Hartley and David Kenny, authors of Death Underground, the Centralia and West Frankfort mine disasters, the welfare program was to provide medical care, rehabilitation treatment, and death benefits. It provided the authority for the director of the U.S. Bureau of Mines to establish a federal mine safety code, to enforce mine safety regulations, and provided the first legal authority for federal inspectors to close mines found to be dangerous. Lack of enforcement would prove deadly for miners in Centralia and West Frankfort. The health and welfare funds, however, provided relief and security for miners for decades. But in recent years, many companies have gone out of business and found legal loopholes to shed their retirement responsibilities. Those miners affected are today fighting for the passage of the Miners Protection Act, which would provide access and funding to shore up the pension plan. Labor History in 2 brought to you by the Illinois Labor History Society and The Rick Smith Show. For more information, go to laborhistoryin2.com.
Hey, ho, ho. Welcome back to the third hour of the program. So we got everything working and don't want to jinx it. Let's see. We're live. We're here. We're queer. Get over it. So there's that. Let's go to our next story that we're talking about. And I am going to have to edit like a video to be able to fix something, so you'll get to see me do it live because I didn't get a chance to do it right before the show. So we're gonna do that when we play the video. I hate doing it that way, but sometimes you just gotta fix it. Because I forgot to add a video, 2 videos actually. So these dastardly pronouns, these dastardly evil pronouns are getting in the way of me being a jerk. They're just getting in the way, and they are dastardly, and they are evil, and they are bad, and we need to stop the pronouns from impairing us. As Jim says, evil, Marxist, socialist, communist pronouns. Yeah, so these evil Marxist, communist, socialist pronouns, they're just bad to the core of these pronouns. And Breitbart is exposing the use of woke culture. Breitbart is saving us from woke culture. I need you to know that. I need you to understand that. Breitbart is doing the work that most Americans are afraid to do. They are doing the work that the American people are afraid to do. The title, TSA bows to radical transgender movement, announces plans to gender-neutral screening to advance civil rights. Oh my God. People's civil rights are going to be advanced. They're bowing to the less radical transgender movement by adopting gender neutral screening at its trend points to better suit transgender, non-binary, and gender non-conforming passengers. Oh my God, those bastards. How could they do such a thing? How could the TSA, a government agency that wants to they want to protect the civil rights of other people? Why do they want to protect the civil rights of transgender people? Protecting the rights of the TSA. Going and protecting people's rights. How dare they advance civil rights? The TSA will essentially begin reducing the number of pat-down screenings to accommodate those who refuse to identify as one of the only two valid biological sexes. Now, these non-conforming nincompoops, they need to get in line with the program. They need to just tell me whether they're a man or a woman. They just need to stick to a single thing. None of this they, them pronoun usage. No, sirree. Downs for everybody, in fact. Everybody needs to get a pat down. If you're Alex Jones, you get a pat down. If you're Glenn Beck, you get a pat down. If you're Tom Reynolds, you get a pat down. The TSA needs to give pat downs out like Oprah does. None of this gender neutral conformism. We can't have any of that. And no, Jim, I will not call you it. It. No. I will not conform to your liberal ideology. I will not bend a knee to permit a less invasive screening procedure. I want it to be invasive, damn it. Invade my personal privacy. You need to know if I have a pee-pee or a hoo-hoo. That is the most relevant thing that is necessary to know when I fly on American or United or on Southwest. You, the TSA, must find out if there's a hoo-ha or a pee-pee involved, or the plane will crash. The plane will come down, and it will be because you did not conform. This is a you problem. You are not conforming. The leftist mob does not want to comply to social norms and standards. The leftist mob is out there to get you into this they, them, he, she conundrum, when we all know there's just one man and one woman, and marriage is between a man and a woman, and science is science. I mean, that's their argument right there. I don't know how. Breitbart. Oh my God, civil rights? Who needs civil rights? If you couldn't tell, I was being completely fucking sarcastic, because I'm so sick of this. I am so sick of the big deal they are making out. The left mob. Somehow the plane is gonna crash because we don't know if mommy and daddy have a pee-pee or a hoo-ha. Why do we even use phrases mommy and daddy anymore? The change will reduce pat-downs for TSOs and the traveling public without compromising security, and it will be in effect until the new gender-neutral AIT screening technology is deployed later this year. So they're waiting for technology, and they're like, you know what? We're not going to invade people's personal privacy. Oh my God. And freak out on. You would think that the plane is going to crash because of a nonconformist gender neutral person. Jim says I'm prepared to call all Republicans it if they prefer. I would go as strong as saying I would prefer to call all Republicans ass. Hey ass, how you doing? Ass. That because they're all asses. They are all asses. Tell me how they're not asses, and I'll get you a cookie. I will get you a cookie. Jared Kushner testified. Ivanka is testifying, and I had some breaking news from the Hill. Psaki, Jen Psaki, has decided she's going to MSNBC. This is according to two sources. Psaki has worked with the White House Counsel's Office and her departure, and no contracts have been signed yet, Axios reported. Additionally, she has talked with senior officials about the move, but has not formally announced it to the press team. But she is on the move. Maybe she's going to take Rachel Maddow's position. What's she going to do at MSNBC, I wonder? Oh, a new weekend program, they say. Because we need more of that. Oh, Lord. Lord Jesus. There we go with that. Gotta love that ability to just keep it on the up and up. Lord, I hate when the Fox News people do it. I hate when the MSNBC people do it. I just am not a fan. It's not surprising though. No one should be surprised. But let's see here. I'm gonna fix this video. Rick Scott thinks Florida is not a dumpster fire country. Oh, I do have the video already prepped. That's great. So Rick Scott thinks Florida is not a dumpster fire country. Or state in the country. And Rick Scott thinks Florida is just wonderful. And Rick Scott thinks people are flocking to Florida. People are just like, come on in, Florida, come on in. We just love the Florida. With their don't say gay and their active shooter drills. Florida's just popping. Here is the madness of Ron DeSantis.
You know, you look at the demand in Florida. I mean, part of the reason is because people are trying to get the hell out of these dumpster fire states that have just done so poorly. So everyone's trying to figure out how to go into Florida. So what I think will happen is, you know, you're going to need more supply. Yes, we have different programs to help alleviate. I view a lot of what we're doing with the police and the fire and the teachers as helping to address overall inflation as well.
How do you address inflation with the police and the fire and the teachers? Policemen stop crime when they're not tasering people or shooting people that are black. Fire people put out fires, and teachers teach. How do the police and the fire and the teachers stop inflation? How does that happen? That is the stupidest statement I've ever heard. I don't know about you. I mean, that's a Trumponian statement if I ever did hear one. The police and the fire and the teacher. It's like, dude, no. It's like, ridiculous. And I'm looking something up for a story that we're going to talk about. And let's see. Because I'm trying to find there was this clip that I have that runs into this. DeSantis says stupid ass things in stupid ass ways and gets away with it. And we cover it, and the liberal media kind of covers it, but they get away with it. See, and let me just load the clip here. So just bear with me. Y'all are gonna see.
You look at the.
Whoops. Y'all are gonna see how the sausage is made. There's the original clip. Now we're gonna get the original clip, and we are going to take that out, and we're gonna load the Steph Murphy clip. So CBS.
What's your message to people?
Whoa. Break time, which we're not taking this time. Okay, so we have the AOC clip. Steph Murphy is a moderate Democratic person. And AOC said something that needed clarification from a moderate Democratic person. So CBS, the corporate news network, corporate broadcasting system, went and was like to a Democrat, "What's the problem? What's going on here? Can't you guys get along?" So CBS wanted an answer, as you do. There's no, like, we can work together as a party. But the way that this Representative Murphy gave her answer is almost as if she's challenging progressives to work within the parameters of the Democratic Party. And it's as if somehow AOC is blocking things. AOC is not blocking things. AOC is trying to get more done legislative wise. To hear this congressperson tell it in the Democratic Party, AOC is in the way of good legislation. And pragmatism is well and good, but you need to have a little bit of, I don't know, gusto with that pragmatism, and have to have a bill that is something in a policy that the American people want to support. So Congress will get behind it. You can't just be pragmatist for pragmatism's sake. And this is what I think she's trying to say here. Let's just be pragmatist. No, it doesn't work that way. You need to come up with something and then work. I mean, if you're going to water it down, and it has to be watered down to solve the problem, to get it passed, so Joe Manchin will like it. Well, you don't start by watering it down. You start by going with the thing that you want the most, and then talking down, or going above and beyond the thing that you want the most and talking down to the thing you want the most. One of the two ways. But you don't just start with, well, I don't know about that. And this is exactly what Murphy did. Congresswoman Murphy did. She watered down progressive proposals and tried to make them sound as if they're not wanted. And we can't have that in the Democratic Party. The progressive left and the Democratic Party is not the problem. They are the solution to the overriding problem of pragmatism. in the Democratic Party. I wish more people would see that. I wish more people would see that the Democratic Party has a problem with pragmatism and watering things down to get to it being passed. And then even still, Joe Manchin will come along and say, no, can't do that. So, like, don't blame Ocasio-Cortez for being on the right side. It's not her fault that you guys can't think out of the box. Here's this.
What's your message to people on the left in your party, people like Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez? She says moderates like Joe Manchin are the problem. What do you say?
I appreciate her passion, the left's passion, because that drives us towards change.
Okay.
But what makes a difference in Americans' lives is legislation that has 218 votes here in the House and can carry in the Senate so that it lands on President Biden's desk and can be signed into law. So let's balance our passion with a bit of pragmatism.
Republicans are pretty good at focusing on winning at all costs. Do you think Democrats are good at that?
We are a cacophony of voices, and it's a beautiful symphony sometimes. I think we need to get a little more focused here as we head into what will be challenging midterms.
So, I think I said CBS, maybe it was CNN, I apologize. Still corporate media. Doesn't matter, it's CBS, CNN, or wherever. Joe Manchin is the problem. It's not, the media frames it in such a way as if Joe Manchin is a moderate Democrat. Moderate Democrats, if Murphy is right about pragmatism in the long run. It goes back to my original point. Murphy is right about pragmatism. Joe Manchin is not a moderate. He's a conservative. He's a conservative Democrat. He's not a moderate. Moderates in the Democratic Party who want to work with progressives need to say that, need to be specific, need to say that Joe Manchin is the problem. Yes, she could have answered this in so better a way. We need pragmatism to get what we want, to come to get the votes. But even when progressives work with moderates, and this is the point she's missing, to get to pragmatism, Joe Manchin blocks the bill in the Senate. Joe Manchin is not a moderate. Because if Joe Manchin was a moderate, he would have seen all the work the moderates in the Democratic Party have done to get to a compromise with the progressives and how pragmatic they've been, and would have said, this is a good bill. Let's go with it. It passed the House of Representatives. Let's go with it. Joe Manchin blocks on purpose Democratic things. The Biden budget, Joe Manchin blocks. Joe Manchin is the problem. AOC is right. The moderate Democratic part of the party needs to call out Joe Manchin as going too far. Needs to call him out. And to say that Joe Manchin is not or is rather a moderate is a lie. Because you're putting, like Representative Murphy, I'm sure you want to work with Ocasio-Cortez. I'm sure you want to work with AOC and the squad. And I believe you're an honest broker. You have to call out Joe Manchin as someone who is not an honest broker. He is not. And until the Democratic Party does this, Joe Manchin will be a thorn in the side of progress. Joe Manchin is a conservative in the Democratic Party. He is not a moderate. And it needs to get to the point where the Democratic Party is honest with who and what Joe Manchin is. He is a bad operator, a bad agent inside the Democratic Party. If you're going to say blue no matter who, and that's fine. If you want to do that and go that route, that's fine. But don't sit there and tell me that Joe Manchin is all of a sudden blue no matter who when he's not. Joe Manchin is not blue no matter who. Joe Manchin is not a Democrat, but a conservative. Prove me wrong. I'll wait. Prove me wrong. The best thing the Democratic Party could do is get rid of Joe Manchin. We'll be right back.
I'm Rick Smith, and this is Labor History in 2. On this day in labor history, the year was 1946. That was the day 400,000 bituminous coal miners walked off the job in 26 states. They demanded higher wages, better health benefits, and safety regulations. The strike began to cripple industrial operations nationwide. By May 22nd, President Harry S. Truman seized the mines. Miners returned to work a week later. John L. Lewis, president of the United Mine Workers, signed an agreement with Secretary of the Interior Julius Krug. It included wage increases and vacation pay, the 5-day work week, and contributions to a retirement fund. The strike led to the Promise of 1946, otherwise known as the Krug-Lewis Amendment. It created the UMWA Health and Retirement Funds. It is this fund that is often referred to in present-day discussions concerning the loss of retiree health and pension benefits. According to Robert Hartley and David Kenny, authors of Death Underground, the Centralia and West Frankfort mine disasters, the welfare program was to provide medical care, rehabilitation treatment, and death benefits. It provided the authority for the director of the U.S. Bureau of Mines to establish a federal mine safety code, to enforce mine safety regulations, and provided the first legal authority for federal inspectors to close mines found to be dangerous. Lack of enforcement would prove deadly for miners in Centralia and West Frankfort. The health and welfare funds, however, provided relief and security for miners for decades. But in recent years, many companies have gone out of business and found legal loopholes to shed their retirement responsibilities. Those miners affected are today fighting for the passage of the Miners Protection Act, which would provide access and funding to shore up the pension plan. Labor History in 2 brought to you by the Illinois Labor History Society and The Rick Smith Show. For more information, go to laborhistoryin2.com.
University student Andrew Fraser as part of the Soundbeat class partnership. Find out more about the partnership at soundbeat.org. Soundbeat is produced at the Belfer Audio Archive, Syracuse University Libraries. I'm Brett Barry.
Russia. As if we needed more proof. As if we needed more proof that Russia is dishonest in how it deals with information and how it goes about dealing with this war in Ukraine and how it goes about dealing with things. As if we needed more proof. The story is from The Hill. Canadian agency says it observed numerous Russian-backed disinformation campaigns. Oh my God. Russia is busy plotting actions against Ukraine. Canadians' communication security establishment said among the observation noted in the classified reporting were allegations that Russia coordinated efforts to spread the idea that organs of dead soldiers, women, and children were being harvested by Ukraine while using mobile cremators to dispose of evidence. Sick stuff, dude. Russia has created and amplified fake stories and narratives, falsely claiming that only military targets were being attacked and that civilian casualties in Ukraine were lower than what was confirmed. And verifiable sources have shown. They are trying to move the goalposts. They're being Republicans. This is straight out of the Republican playbook to say, no, this didn't really happen this way. This happened this way. This is what actually happened. This is a narrative. Your narrative is wrong. The visible, reliable narrative that we have found that is correct is not correct. Your narrative is wrong. Your narrative is ineffectual. Our narrative is correct. How Republican is that? How straight out of the Republican playbook is that? And it's like verified now by the Canadian communication security establishment. They're like, look, see, Russia is a bad actor. It's not the American Security Exchange, it's the Canadian. So it's from a different country saying exactly what needs to be said about Russia and its disinformation campaign. It is affirming what we have been saying about Russia all along. Tara Devlin, Brad Friedman, Tom Hartman, we have been saying all along these things about Russia. That Russia is going on an information campaign that is false. We have been talking about this. And we have been on the right side of history, and now we have the receipts. We're not just talking to shore up Ukraine and shore up Zelensky and everything else. We actually bring receipts to the table before we even have them. And go say all this that Russia is doing is Russian propaganda. And now we have the backing of a Canadian governmental source through The Hill to say that in fact, Russia is a bad actor. The Canadian agency also alleged that the stories baselessly accused Russian civilians opposed to the conflict in Ukraine of supporting neo-Nazis and genocide were being promoted in Moscow. So if you are against the war and supporting Ukraine and Russia, you're and this is again what Republicans do. The Republicans are no different in this disinformation campaign. The Republicans will say, "Don't say gay." If you're with the "don't say gay" and the liberal mob, you are against helping parents. It is the same tactics. The Republican Party uses the same exact tactics that the Russian intelligentsia uses. They were equally as bad and equally as disingenuous, where they will go and say something about something they've created, something that is harmful to others, and say, well, then if you're not against this, like if you're with Leah Thompson in sports and being an athlete in sports, you are against women. You're a misogynist. This is what they do. This is how they operate. Since Russia is lying to their soldiers about what they're doing and when they think they are going to military training, what is sort of hope in negotiations between Ukraine and Russia? Alensky Reznikov said last month, the defense minister of Ukraine. This is the Canadian agency is right. It's absolutely right, and it's simple, and we're going to talk about it, how it equates to what the Republicans do and the conservative media does in the January 6th. Stuff I can get into, stuff that I can be interested in to bring to the table, because this is something urgently needed to be known. Because right now, the disinformation from the conservative side is Trump did nothing wrong with January 6th. Trump did absolutely nothing wrong in the missing pages. You have to believe Donald Trump. Trump is the victim in all this. Trump is the victim in all this. He did nothing wrong. Remember, he was the same guy who was like, "Hey, Putin, you got that information for me? Bring it." But he does nothing wrong in this. If you ask the conservative press, he is the victim in all this. He was just fighting for freedom. He is fighting for freedom. So there's that. We have the Blaze covering this story. Media's latest smoking gun against Trump comes crashing down. There's no missing pages. Okay. So they say that the Washington Post reports that there were missing 7 hours and 30 minutes of phone records on January 6th. that from 11:17 a.m. to 6:45 p.m., the committee has no record of this information. Well, according to the Blaze reported, there's nothing nefarious going on. Because according to CNN, they use CNN as a source to say, well, look at this. This is nothing bad is happening. Trump rarely plays calls through the White House switchboard when he was in the Oval Office, instead relying on White House landlines, government cell phones, and personal cell phones. He typically only used switchboard when he was in the White House residence. So their narrative now is Trump did nothing wrong here. Donald Trump did nothing wrong here because Trump behaved in this way. Because Trump was communicating not through the White House switchboard. Makes it better, right? Trump was not communicating through the White House switchboard, so that's why there's missing documentation of the calls made, and that was totally fine. And there's no worry here. You're not supposed to be worried about that. And they're using Jamie Gangel of CNN, saying the 6 pages of White House logs for 1/6 are complete based on the official review of the White House records, according to a source familiar with the matter. There are no missing pages, and the 7-hour gap is likely explained by use of White House lines and cell phones instead. I don't know about you, but that still does not make me feel better. Okay, so Donald Trump, they're like, it's okay that he used burner phones because that's what he always did. It's okay that Donald Trump did it this way because that's what Donald Trump has always done. So why are you worried? That's their narrative they're going with. They're going with there's no smoking gun because he didn't use the switchboard, and that was exactly what and how Donald Trump operated as president of the United States. Does that make me feel any better? No, but if you're a conservative, you're a Republican, that should be like, yeah, there's nothing here. Because now you could safely say there's no gap. There's no gap in the records. Trump did nothing wrong. You could go with the narrative that Trump did nothing wrong because Trump did it dishonestly. Trump communicated in other means because he didn't want a record of what he was doing, the wrong and illegality he was committing. He's literally, as Jim says, lowering the bar. He's lowering the bar from, this is what he always does. I mean, that's just, Jim points that out. That just means he's always been a criminal. Okay, well, thank you for pointing that out. But you've confirmed what you've confirmed and affirmed exactly what we've always known. Donald Trump is a criminal. Donald Trump should not be president again. Donald Trump and the Republican Party are menaces to the greater good of democracy. Thank you for confirming exactly what we've always known about Donald Trump. You said it, not me. They were desperately seeking an out for people like Rick Scott and people like Lindsey Graham and Sean Hannity and Tucker Carlson to all go on this Russian disinformation ploy of, look, no gap. We have they can now say there is no gap in the records. A formal review has shown there is no gap in the records. Why are you upset? Why are you mad at the president? Why are you hastily making this opinion that the president did something wrong? There's no gap. Case closed. Enough said. But then they can say, well, what about means nothing, because this is how Donald Trump always did things in the Oval Office. See how they play the game? See how they run? See how dishonest they are? They need desperately a way to make their narrative work. Now they have a way to make their narrative work so it doesn't look as bad as it does from the outsider. So the people ingesting the news will not just automatically go to Trump criminal, which they rightly should. They then go to Trump just doing it the way Trump does it. Trump being Trump. This is what they wanted all along. They wanted Trump being Trump as the answer. Oh, Trump's just being Donald Trump. We're used to that. But you want that back in the White House. I'll wait for the answer. Donald Trump is a menace. We have the receipts. I love how they phrase it. The smoking gun, the gotcha, is wrong. It's not wrong. It makes him look worse. It makes Donald Trump look worse. I don't know how you can't see that at this point. I don't know how you can't see the differences between the Democratic Party and the Republican Party, and what the Democratic Party and the conservatives as a whole will do to defend their leader, Donald Trump Munchkin Man. I don't know how you can't see it. It boggles my mind. It boggles my mind. And I will never understand it. How at this point, people cannot see the danger, Will Robinson, of Donald Trump. I don't understand it. I need somebody smarter than me to explain it to me, because I have not got a clue. I have not been as smart as the average bear to understand this craziness. Speaking of understanding craziness, final story, Florida story for you guys. The GOP have been cock-blocked. That's always nice when that happens, when the GOP get cock-blocked. They are trying to have a voting law, because this is what they do. And a federal judge has been like, nah, dog, we ain't doing it this way. Not the way you want to do it. Not the way you want to do it, my friend. And it is exactly the way to outperform and do the right thing. This judge did the right thing. Republican from Reuters, Republican-backed voting restrictions ruling that they violate minority voting constitutional rights. Judge Mark Walker blocked the state from enforcing provisions aimed at reducing the use of drop boxes making it more difficult for third-party organizations to collect voter registration forms, and banning groups from offering food, water, and other aid to people while waiting in line to vote. So this judge was like, Republicans, not good. Shit law. Shit law. He signed the bill, Ron DeSantis, into law last year. And this is as bad as Georgia, if not worse. The judge saw that for the past 20 years, the majority in Florida legislature have attacked the voting rights of its black constituents. He said, also, where is it? That it's a weakening of the Voting Rights Act and federal civil rights legislation. Walker said he would require preclearance for the next 10 years for any new law governing the third-party voter registration groups, drop boxes, or aid to voters waiting in line. The court recognizes that the right to vote and the VRA particularly are under siege. The court recognizes that the right to vote and the VRA are under siege. This activist judge did the right thing. He did the right thing. He said that this bill was built upon 2 decades of discriminatory voting laws. He is absolutely right. More people need to be like this judge. More people need to understand that the Republicans do not want you to be able to vote fairly. Whether it's Florida or Georgia, you name the state, Tennessee, Tallahassee is in Florida. Tom, get your geography right. It doesn't matter where it is. The problem that we are dealing with, or overreaching problem that we are dealing with, is the fact that Republicans do not want more voters, because more voters equal Democratic wins and the Democratic Party going into victory. The Republicans need to block the momentum of the Democratic Party, so they lie, they cheat, they steal, and they do everything. And we have the receipts, whether it be the Russians or the Republicans. We have the receipts of the cheating that is going on, and we need to stand together and stand firm in stopping it. Simple as that. Simple as that. We need to stand firm against the Republican trying to block vote a minority people who will typically vote the right way, which is the Democratic way. Get a few outliers like Charles Payne and Candace Owens, but for the most part, people vote the right way in minority groups. And then you get Caitlyn Jenner, to name a few. But that's how it is. So, no Woke Talk Radio tonight. We will have Woke Talk Radio on Saturday. Me and Lou Hastings will be on Saturday at 8 o'clock. The news show, FYI Reports, will be debuting on Monday at 8 o'clock p.m. Eastern Time with host Darian Bowman. He will be on live to present the news. And it's a big news day with Judge Jackson being confirmed. So we will have a big commentary on that. In fact, I'm working on that. It's big stuff happening here at FYNation.com. We are moving right along. And I want to thank everybody for watching, commenting, tweeting, participating. Your participation keeps me going, and it's good to see. I want to thank Rory Boyd for joining the show. I want to thank your Patreon support, which helped us. So if you help the show through Patreon, thank you for that. If you like and share the program, thank you for that. Thank you for liking and sharing the program. Our YouTube is really taking off. So hopefully we'll be able to monetize that soon. Thank you, thank you, thank you for your participation. Participation is what we need. Communication with motivation. That's what we do here. And we're on Spotify. We're on SoundCloud. We're going to be on iTunes this weekend. We will be as many places as we possibly can so we can bring you the news, the information, and commentary that you want. We are not journalists here. We are political pundits here, and we want to bring you the best in liberal talk. And hopefully we do that on a daily basis. I know yesterday we had a little bit of a difficulty in the show. I apologize for that. Shit happens. But we're getting better, and hopefully we can have more shows like this one, where it's a great little adventure that we all go on, and we tell the truth here. We bring you nothing but the truth. And we're not like Russian disinformation agents. So on that note, I really again want to thank everybody. And I want to hope that you listen or watch more of FYNation.com programming. I hope to see you soon on the streams. And I hope you guys have a great weekend. Even if you don't participate, I hope you have a great weekend, because we all need to have a wonderful break, a wonderful little hiatus. We all need that. The FYNation.com live stream will be updated for all the programming schedule tomorrow. And so look out for it. Talk to you soon. Stay safe, everybody. And bye for now. Adios, amigos.